Poor rancher Silas Thorne saved two legendary Lakota sisters. The next day, their chief returned with a decision that would change the destiny of the frontier. The blizzard had passed, but what Silas found in his corral defied all logic. Two Lakota women lay unconscious near his shivering cattle, but these were no ordinary women. They were giants among their people. The shorter one stood taller than most men in town, with a powerful frame built for warfare and survival on the frozen plains. The taller one was monumental, standing nearly 7 feet of solid muscle and bone, her shoulders broader than any blacksmith Silas had ever seen. Women of this size were legends whispered around campfires, warrior daughters of great chiefs, trained from birth to fight like bears, yet carrying the sacred responsibility of continuing ancient bloodlines. They never traveled alone. The giant women wore white buffalo skins and intricate beadwork that marked them as high-born nobility, their jewelry worth more than Silas's entire property. Blood soaked through the shorter sister's torn garments, while the taller one's breathing came in agonizing rasps. Both had sustained serious injuries fleeing from something, or someone, dangerous enough to separate them from their elite guard. Silas's survival instinct screamed a single truth. Helping the Lakota meant death for settlers like him. That was the iron law of this unforgiving frontier. But when the massive woman opened her eyes and locked them onto his, Silas saw something that shattered his assumptions about the Plains warriors. He didn't see fury, but desperate human fear. She tried to speak, her voice deep and resonant despite the pain, but managed only a whisper in her native tongue before fading away again. Silas had 3 minutes and 2 dying giants. The choice would define whether he was the biggest fool in the territory or a man possessing a courage he didn't know he had. He knelt in the muddy snow. The shorter sister, whom he would later call Kimi, had a spear wound in her side. The larger one, Makwa, which meant bear, had a deep gash across her forehead, but her eyes remained in a state of predatory alertness even in unconsciousness. His ranch was 20 miles from the town of Deadwood. Helping them was signing his own death warrant. Men had been hanged for less, but Silas saw the humanity in them. "Damn it," he muttered, sliding his arms under Kimi's shoulders. She weighed like solid lead. Makwa, in a titanic effort, woke up and forced herself to stand, swaying but determined to help carry her sister. Her height made Silas feel like a child beside her. Together, they maneuvered Kimi into the cabin. The smell of snow and copper blood filled the air. As they settled her near the fireplace, Makwa whispered in broken English, "They come. Hunters." Through the crack in the shutters, Silas saw 5 Lakota warriors appear on the ridge like ghosts in the mist. "Why do they hunt you?" Silas asked, loading his rifle. "Kimi refused marriage," Makwa said, her voice raspy. "Sub-Chief Red Wolf wanted her. She said no. He swore death." The brutal simplicity of it hit Silas, refusing a marriage and being marked for death. Outside, the warriors stopped. The leader pointed at the cabin. "How many bullets?" Makwa asked, drawing a massive bone knife. "Not enough," Silas admitted. Then Makwa looked at him, measuring his soul. "Last winter, boy lost in storm. White man found him, gave warmth, left near village. Never asked for gold." Silas froze. He remembered. A boy nearly frozen to death he had found while hunting elk. He had wrapped the child in his own blankets and left him where the Lakota patrols would find him. "That was the son of Chief Iron Eagle," Makwa revealed. "The chief swore a blood debt to the ghost of the snow. Is that you?" The sound of horses was at the door. A voice shouted outside, demanding the women. Silas made his decision. "My name is Silas Thorne," he yelled through the thick wood of the door. "And I am the man who returned the winter sun to Chief Iron Eagle." The silence outside was deafening. "Show yourself," the leader of the warriors commanded. When Silas opened the door, flanked by the 2 gigantic warriors, the 5 scouts stepped back. intimidated by the sight. Silas explained who he was. The leader, an old warrior with smallpox scars, nodded slowly. "Iron Eagle will come at dawn. He will judge if the life of a son is worth the dishonor of a daughter who runs." The night was long. Silas and Makwa tended to Kimmy's wounds. There was a tension in the air, not just of danger, but of a quiet attraction. Silas watched Makwa's strength, her dignity, and felt something long dead in his chest begin to awaken. Around 3 in the morning, Sheriff Black Jack Cole arrived with 2 deputies. They were cruel men, bounty hunters with badges. "We got tracks of Indians coming this way, Thorne," Cole shouted. The situation repeated itself, but with more danger. Cole hated the natives. Silas tried to throw him off the scent, but the fresh blood on the porch betrayed him. When Cole moved to breach the door, Makwa stepped out of the shadows. Her colossal stature made the lawmen swallow hard. "We are daughters of Iron Eagle," she thundered, "under protection of treaty law and blood debt." It was a tense standoff. The sheriff knew that killing the daughters of a supreme chief would start an all-out war. He decided to wait for dawn, surrounding the house. At sunrise, the earth trembled. It wasn't just 5 warriors. Iron Eagle arrived with 50 elite riders. The chief, a man of magnetic presence, dismounted and faced the sheriff and Silas. After a tense negotiation where federal and tribal laws were wielded like weapons, Iron Eagle made his move. He recognized Silas as the savior of his son and now his daughters. "To protect him from the white man's law and Red Wolf's vengeance," the chief declared, "Silas Thorne will be adopted. He is now my son. His land is Lakota land by extension of family. The treaty protects family lands." Sheriff Cole, furious but powerless against the treaty and 50 rifles, left swearing legal vengeance. Silas accepted the adoption necklace, becoming Makwa's brother. And that was where the problem began. The attraction between Silas and Makwa was palpable. But now, by tribal law, they were siblings. The taboo was absolute. The chief left, saying he would return the next day with his final decision on how to seal this alliance. The next morning, the sky was clear, a crystalline blue over the white snow. Silas watched Makwa sharpening her axe on the porch. They had barely spoken, the weight of the forced kinship building a wall between them. Iron Eagle returned, this time accompanied only by a shaman and 2 elders. He didn't dismount immediately. He looked at Silas, then at Makwa, and a glint of cunning appeared in his old eyes. "My son," the chief said, addressing Silas, "yesterday I used the law to save your life and your land. The adoption protected you from the sheriff. But I spent the night listening to the spirits, and the spirits say that the wolf should not lie with the sheep, but the wolf must run with the bear." Silas frowned, confused. Makwa stopped sharpening the axe, her black eyes fixed on her father. "Blood adoption is sacred," the chief continued. "But one man cannot defend these lands alone against what is coming. And a man cannot look at his sister the way I see you look at Makwa." Silas's face burned, but he didn't look away. "I respect your laws, Chief. Laws serve the people. The people do not serve the laws." Iron Eagle dismounted. He walked up to Silas and ripped the adoption necklace he had given him the day before from his neck. For a moment, Silas thought he had been rejected, that the protection had been withdrawn. "I revoke the adoption of brotherhood," the chief declared, his voice echoing in the valley. "You are no longer my son." Silas felt a chill run down his spine. Without tribal protection, the sheriff would return. "But," said the chief, a rare smile curving his lips, "the blood debt still exists, and to pay a debt of 3 lives, the son in the winter and the 2 daughters yesterday, the price is higher than friendship. The price is union." He took Silas's hand and Makwa's hand. Her hand was nearly the size of his, warm and calloused. "Red Wolf still wants Makwa. The only way to stop his claim, according to our ancient laws, is if she has already chosen a partner who defeated her or saved her in battle. You saved her." Iron Eagle looked at the 2 of them. "My decision is this. Silas Thorne will not be my adopted son. He will be my son-in-law. Marriage binds our lands and our blood irrevocably. The treaty recognizes mixed marriages with the same force as adoption. Makwa looked at Silas, and for the first time, the warrior mask fell, revealing a smile that lit up her stern face. "Do you accept, Ghost of the Snow?" she asked, her deep voice vibrating. "Do you accept a wife who can carry a horse on her back and who will fight your wars by your side?" Silas looked at the giant woman before him, the only person he had ever met who understood the solitude and strength needed to survive in that frozen hell. He didn't see a legendary warrior, he saw his partner. "I accept," Silas said, "if you will have me." "The wedding will be at sunset," the chief decreed, mounting his horse again. "Prepare yourselves. Sheriff Cole will return with papers, but we will be waiting for him with a wedding feast and 300 warrior guests. Let us see who has the stronger law." And so, in the heart of the savage frontier, the lonely rancher and the Lakota giantess forged a legend that would be told for generations. The story of the day when love was the only law that mattered, protected by the shadow of 300 rifles and the blessing of a cunning chief.